So Tony called me and, saying that he had a new listing, pretty excited about it. And I don't blame him. I'm excited for him as well, especially that it went, it's probably going to go pending here really quickly. And let me let Kim back in here. So Tony said, I feel really good about everything, but I just don't know about writing the description for the MLS. I'm not a wordsmith. I don't know exactly what to write. So I don't mean to beat this dog to death, but since we're talking about scripts, I just wanted to mention to you what I suggested to Tony, because I'd never been in this house. I've never seen the house, so I couldn't help him write a description. And so I asked him to give me some information about the house. Okay. So he gave me, as we were thinking through it, he would give me some information. And then, Tony, I would say to you, well, what else does it have? Does it have a big backyard? Is it fenced? Yeah, it's fenced. Good. So fenced. What else does it have, Tony? Well, it's got vaulted ceilings in the living room. I said, oh, that's cool. And so he gave me a bunch of things. And the whole point of this, again, not to beat a dead dog, I went to Chat GPT. I don't know if any of you have done this yet. We've talked about this, I think, a little bit. So he put those words into Chat GPT. And Tony, what did you get when you did that?
It was a beautiful description of this house. It was really awesome.
It was totally awesome. It blew me away. Obviously, that's why you got the offer within minutes, because of I don't know that, but you know what? Just know that there's tools like that can help you. Just like there's tools that I found, again, in Chat GPT, and I don't want you to think I spend all my time there, because I don't, but I was curious enough today to go there to ask what kind of scripts are important for real estate agents. And you know what? It spit out a bunch of scripts for me. So what I want to do is to make you aware of the places where you can get scripts. Now, I promised you all that I was going to provide you the Tom Ferry scripts download. And so I'll send that directly to you after we finish this class today. So you're going to have, 100 scripts from Tom Ferry in all different areas of real estate that I think will help you in getting started. It's not the answer to all of your prayers, but many. And know that this Chat GPT is something you should consider in doing. If you haven't done it before, let me do this. Let me share my screen, because I think I have it at the top. I don't want to erase this. Let's see where else I might find it. Let me just move something here. Okay, there it is. So if you don't have this, write it down. It's chat.openai.com. Chat.openai.com. Okay, if you go there, you will get a free subscription to Chat GPT, and there's many more. There are many more places you can pay as well. You can pay for it, and there's all kinds of different levels and types. As a matter of fact, I'm part of the raving fan club to a guy by the name of Ray Edwards. Ray Edwards probably means little to nothing to most of you, but he's one of the top copywriters in the world and an author. Just a smart guy. He's come out with his own version of AI that helps write ad copy. And I actually used it I had 24 hours of free version, and wrote some fabulous ad copy for a project that I'm doing. So know that Chat AI is here to stay and is probably going to be around for a while. Okay. So, I think you all should be aware of it and get onto it. For some of you who weren't on the Ready, Set, Go class yesterday that Knowledge DNA is doing, one of the coaches for Knowledge DNA is Marie Pallister, and she lives in New Jersey, specifically in the, what is it? Where do you
I'm
live?
in New York.
You're in New York. I'm sorry. In New York, in the Hamptons, in New York.
New
Yes,
York
sir.
City.
Yeah.
No city here, right on the beach.
Yeah. No, I don't think anybody admits to live in a city. I don't think that. But anyhow, she lives in the Hamptons, and Anne Marie is one of the coaches. And I invited her to join us today because she may have, and probably does have, a lot of great advice she can give us and maybe answer questions. And maybe when there's a pause in the action, she can throw her 2 cents in because she has a lot of experience in the coaching realm. And so, a couple things I wanted to touch on first. Some of you have been on our scripts calls before. Some of you never have, because you're newer than the last time I did a scripts class. I kind of stopped the scripts class because there's just not enough hours in the day, at least in my day, to be doing all the things I want to do in our office and all the things that I promised Paul that I would try to do in the office. So I, have resorted to doing Thursday trainings and making sure Thursday trainings go on, and there just isn't enough time unless I do things like this. So I'm really happy that you're here, because this is kind of an off time, and I know you're taking your time to be here. If you've been on the scripts calls in the past, you know that I pointed out this book, Exactly What to Say. This book is for real estate agents, and it's by 3 authors, Jones, Smith, and Mackin. I think Mackin did most of the work in it, but it's called Exactly What to Say. It's one of my favorite books. I pull it off my shelf all the time to remind myself of the things that I forget, because it's just common things we all should know, but at least I forget. And one of the things that it says is, it starts out the book, and I'll just show it to you here. And this is a point of today. The worst time to think about the thing you are going to say is in the moment you are saying it, right? And we're all there so many times. We're in that moment where we need to have the right words, but they're just not there. Let me let Kimberly Paul in. Let me do that. And so books like this and working on scripts are the whole point. We're not trying to find the exact answers to everything, but we're trying to put words in your memory banks so they'll be there when you need them. I wanted to pull this out. Let me just see here. Here's another one. I really like this one. Okay, you can see I have it marked. There we go. Most people. Now remember these 2 words, most people. The author says that these 2 words, which contain just 10 letters, are possibly responsible for much of the negotiating success than any other single strategy that I have employed in my business. He uses the most people when he's talking to his clients and they're wondering about what other people might do. We know that we often follow what other people are doing. We want to be one of the cool kids on the block, right? We want to be part of the group that's smart. And most people are regarded as smart. And so when you use the 2 words, most people, in your negotiations, I would suggest that you try it. It is what he says, valuable 2 words. So when people say, I just don't know if now is the right time to purchase a property, maybe the script that you might use. Well, what I found is most people have the same concern, but decide on purchasing a property now with higher interest rates than we've had for some time, knowing that prices are probably a little less than they were before, and they can always get a different loan. They can always go back. And when rates go down to where they're normal, hopefully they'll go there, when they return to what is normal, that you'll be in a good position owning that dream home that you want or wanted or need, whatever it might be. So while it's not on my script lineup today, most people is one of the words in the book, actually 2 words, 10 letters that you might think about using. Now, I found the best way to do this is to practice it. It's just to practice it in your normal conversation. Tomorrow, when we have our office meeting, and Marie, we do our office meetings Thursdays, every Thursday at 11 o'clock in our office, and try using those 2 words as you're talking to people. Maybe see how it works for you. The only way I found that I can remember anything in this book is to open it up, and it seems like I get a crack across the side of the head every time I open it and realize I need to be using some of these words when I do my business. Okay, so just something very quick, and before we jump on to some of the scripts. So let me share my screen. I am not covering anything in particular today. I pulled down some ideas from scripts that I have, and let me just back up here for a second. And I showed some of the people on the call yesterday some of the scripts that I have. These are some of what I've got in my script book. Obviously, my script book is the binders are ripped apart and broken, but here are some of the scripts that I have. I have had a script book for the last 30 years. One of the first things that my broker back at that time said, you need to have the words, take any script that you learn, any script that you hear, and put it on paper. And actually, see, I started in 92 before the internet. And so put it on paper and put it in a book. And you'll always have the scripts there when you want them. So I have so many scripts that it's ridiculous. I have a special place on my shelf for this book because it's so wide and they keep falling out all over the place. So we can cover just about any script that you would want today, but I thought we'd cover some basic ones, and some of them might be a review for some of you who are brand new in the business. Today we have Amina, who is on the call. She was in our office last Thursday. Some of you were there and met her. Some of you didn't meet her, but she's brand new, so she's just getting started. For all practical purposes, Cortez, that is on the call today, is pretty new. I mean, Cortez has had his license for a while, but he's been going to college. He's been doing other very important things in his life. And so I think now he's in a place where he can dedicate more time to real estate and get serious about the business. And there's others here as well. So one of the quotes I have that you can see on the screen, I really like this quote. And so I put it on the screen. When we ask a question, the future changes before the answers even arrive. When we ask a question, the future changes before the answers even arrive. So today, as we're going through this, think about what questions you might have, because any question you ask is going to be for the benefit of everybody on this call. And it's going to change the future for all of us. One of us might find the right words. One of us might have found that the 2 words that I shared with you earlier may change something, may actually help you seal a deal by having those right words. So when we ask a question, the future changes before the answers even arrive. So I don't have answers necessarily, but be open to asking questions and discussing these. Now, some of you that were on my calls before, and I know Jerry, who was on this call. I can't see him on the screen right now. Let me see if I can see him. Jerry is there. I know he was a pretty dedicated member of the classes that I did before, was often on the scripts calls. So he's heard some of this. And so I don't want to be too redundant, Jerry, but I want to cover everything. And one thing I want to say today is, and for you to think about and use, is the word dissect. Listen, we were all in maybe 9th grade biology, and you had to do that dissection of a frog, or that smelly formaldehyde smell, to having to dissect something. try to get that smell out of your mind that's in your mind right now, because I know you're all remembering it, right? How can we forget
Oh,
it?
yeah.
Okay, so it might have been a frog if you were lucky, and if you were at a big school somewhere or in college, it might have been a pig, it could have been something else. But what I would suggest with every script we're looking at today is that you dissect it, that you take the script that's suggested by somebody else who apparently found the script helpful to them, but make it your own. One of the things that I don't want for you to have happen in scripts, well, there's two things, but one of the things is I don't want you to feel like you're tied to the words that you won't or can't use. There are some words that some people just refuse to use because it's not them. It's not their personality. It's too salesy. It's too demanding on people to, to ask them a question or to use those words. So I don't want that to happen today or any day when we do scripts class like this. One thing, dissect, and we'll do a little bit of that today. Second thing, I will never, ever put anybody in a position where they're embarrassed to review or talk out loud a script in any way. I will not point to anybody and put you in a corner where you feel like you're embarrassed, because I know what happens. You won't come back. I know from my experience, you won't come back. And so I'll never put you in that position. I want you to participate as much as you want and feel comfortable, but do this, if you will. None of us grow when we're comfortable. We grow outside of comfortable. So think about going outside comfortable just a little bit when we do scripts. But listen, if you don't, I am not going to call on you and say, whatever, Bob, read this out for me. Some people hesitate to even read in front of other people. I was one of those people in elementary and middle school where if the teacher called on me to read something, it was humiliating to me because I couldn't read very well. So I won't do that. Okay.
Jim,
Yes, go ahead.
I just want to tell you that the second scariest thing to people in the world is death. The first scariest is speaking in public.
Yep.
And
exactly.
I'm sure you've heard that before, but it's true. I mean, you have to get out of your comfort zone.
Yeah. And one of the liabilities I have is that I'm not smart enough to be scared to get up in front of people to speak. It might have benefited me at times. So that's something that it doesn't bother me, but even though I don't speak necessarily well. Okay, so with those two things in mind, let's just get started somewhere. And we're just gonna cover, first of all, the introduction to your sphere of influence, okay? Some of us don't have any introduction to your sphere of influence. So I picked this one for one big reason, and we'll get there in a second. First of all, if you want to be an agent that separates yourself from other agents, you have to find a reason why people will want to use you. So keep that in mind. If you're going to do things like ordinary real estate agents do, you're probably not going to be successful. Keeping in mind, 87% of all real estate licensees who are licensed today will not be in the business in 5 years. So there's an 85% failure rate within 5 years to new agents. Amina, I don't mean to scare you out of the car or anything like that. But it's the truth. So you don't want to be one of those 87%. And I think that's why you're here today, that you want to try to, as much as you can, buffer yourself from being one of them. So let's look at this script. I'll read it for you, and as best as I can. So I'll read it out loud. You read quietly along with me, or out loud if you want. And if you're muted, I won't know. So, hi, Bob. I hope you're doing well. As you might know, I've recently started my journey as a real estate agent. I'm passionate about helping people find their dream homes or make smart investments. If you or anyone you know is looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate, I greatly appreciate the opportunity to assist you. Your support means a lot to me. So, pretty basic script, but it can be used in so many ways, even if you have been in the business for a while, by dissecting it and making the words fit you. So, one thing, just my opinion, I'll give to you, and Marie, whomever has an opinion, please speak out. One of the things I try not to do is to ask people how they're doing. Now, this takes care of that by saying, I hope you're doing well. You're not asking, how are you today? Because most people know you really don't care to know how they're doing. I think that's just the truth. You've got a reason for calling. And I think when you say, hey, Bob, how you doing today? He's thinking you're trying to sell something because you don't give a rat's behind about me. Get to the point. So by going to, I hope you're doing well, it's a nicety that you can get out of the way. As you might know, I've recently started my journey as a real estate agent. Okay, now you can change that and dissect it. As you might know, I'm continuing with my journey as a real estate. I'm in my second year, I'm in my third year, or I'm continuing to grow my real estate business. Think of things that you can put in this so you can use this not just as an introduction to your sphere of influence, but to the people that you've worked with as buyers or sellers. Hi, Bob. I hope you're doing well. As you might know, I'm focusing on buyers and sellers in my real estate business. I'm in my third year. I'm passionate about helping people find their dream homes or make smart investments. If you or anyone you know is looking to buy or sell or invest in real estate, I greatly appreciate the opportunity to assist you. Your support means a lot to me. So can you think of ways that you can use this script in more ways than just an introduction? Although, Amina, I think this is a great introduction, even Cortez, even for some of you in the room that haven't really done the work that maybe you should have done in the past, and that's in the past. If you haven't made a list of, and Amina and I just talked about this last Thursday, of everybody that you know, if you haven't made that list of everybody that you know and try to find out their email and or their phone numbers so you can be in contact with them, especially the people that you know who trust you and like you, those are people that can really help you when you're doing an introduction like this. Now, are there any other ways that anyone here can see how you might change the words up or how you might use this yourself? Anyone, just feel free to jump in or not.
Hey, Jim, I'll
Yes.
jump in.
Thank you, Kim.
Sorry, I'm driving. I don't want to make y'all dizzy. So I've been doing this almost 3 years now, and I think it's an awesome way to reconnect because people forget what you're doing and it just reminds them to do it. So I think this is a great one, and I think we need to probably put this one up on a wall and exit at the office because it takes the guesswork out of it, and I like how it's worded.
Yeah, and you can even change those words up, for those calls with people that you call for the third time, your third year in real estate. Instead of saying, I've recently started my journey, hey, I'm continuing my journey as a real estate agent, and I'm still passionate about helping people find their dream homes or make smart investments, right? How easy is that? How easy is it?
I do make that. I do ask, how are you doing today? So I kind of like your point of changing that up a little bit and not coming across kind of salesy that way or trying to figure out how to start a conversation.
And Kim, it may not come off salesy for you. I mean, we all have a personality and we all have a way that people recognize us, the way we talk. I'm guessing if you're calling to people that you know, they probably know that you want to know how they're doing, right? And so I think there's a time and place for that. I didn't mean to blow that out of the water, but okay. Any other comments? Any other thoughts? Okay, let's move on. Let's move on to the open house key feature script. I don't know why it's called a key feature script, but okay. Okay, it's not really the feature script. This is a great script after establishing the connection when somebody comes into the door. And we just touched on this yesterday. Anne Marie led us actually in that script yesterday when we talked about it in the Ready, Set, Go class, talking about, you know, how to handle an open house and what to say. Now, so I underlined that. I just did it today because I thought what Anne Marie mentioned about how to handle an open house before any script really happens, that it just be a natural conversation that you have at the door where you connect with people. Anne Marie, would you want to talk about that just a little, some ideas that you have?
Sure. Well, I mean, I don't know if you want me to talk about the 10, 10, 20 of going around and letting the other people in the area know. But
Yeah,
what
go
I
ahead.
do, yeah, so before an open house, what I do is I go to the 10 houses to the right, 10 to the left, 20 across the street, depending how the street is, you know, set up. Basically go to the neighbors. And if I'm going to do an open house from 1 to 3, I go to them and I bring the open house information. If they're not there, I leave it on the door, never in the mailbox. And I just I have a little thing written up and I let them know that we are going to be doing an open house. I usually put a copy of the listing in there or whatever we're using for the open house flyer. And I let them know that I'd like to invite the neighbors the hour before. So if it's from 1 to 3, from 12 to 1, to come and take a look at the house. And then I'll usually do, like, you know, bottled water, maybe get some cookies or something to put out and have them come over. They feel special because they're being let in, and either they're nosy neighbors or they might want to see what the house looks like. You know, listen, I love going into houses to see what people have done. I like to get all different ideas, or they may be thinking of selling it, or they may have somebody who they know that wants to move to the neighborhood. So, and once you get them there, that's pretty easy. You know that you know why they're coming. They're coming because they're a neighbor. That's why they're there early. You haven't put out the open house sign yet. You're just waiting for them to come over. And you know, you really get into some great conversations with them and find out if they have any motivation. We actually did a little role playing yesterday, and you know, sometimes you'll find out that maybe they want to sell their house, but they're not sure what the market can bear. They're not sure where it will be priced. They're not sure where they want to go. So it opens up a great opportunity for you to have many conversations with the neighbors. And I'll tell you, once I had a foreclosure and I did this, and one of the neighbors came over, we started chatting. She's the only person that came. And about 3 days later, I was going to the house to do something, and I had a funny feeling. I had friends that were here from out of the country, actually. And I said, I have such a weird feeling about going to this house today. And my friend's husband was like, we're going to go with you. I was like, that's not necessary. He's like, if you have a funny feeling, let's go. And we got there, and I went to go to the door, and I'm like, that's not the same door. And then I realized the lockbox wasn't there, and the squatters had come into the house.
Oh my
But long
gosh.
story short, yeah, I walked a couple of houses down, and there was a man there, and he said, oh, my wife's the woman that came over to the house the other day. She told me all about you. I said, did you see anything strange? And he said, well, not really, but somebody bought the house down the street, the same house. So his niece and nephew were here, and it needed a new door. So instead of changing the lock, they took the whole door off and they put a whole new door on, and these people just moved in. So they did go over and talk to the people, but they thought it was normal. And within minutes, I had the police there. But it's really good to let people know for many reasons that you're there, that you're going to be selling the house. They see your sign there. They take your card. If something's amiss, hopefully they'll call you. In this case, they just believe the story they told them. And it just gives you a really great beginning to conversations with people.
And so when I would come to one of your open houses and I walked in and you saw me, how does the conversation go?
I would say, would
What
you mind?
happens?
Okay, sure. So I would say, hi, would you mind? My name is Anne Marie. Hopefully you'll tell me your name.
Hi, my name's Jim. Anne Marie, nice to meet you.
Hey, Jim, how are you? So do you live in the neighborhood? Did you get my invitation?
No, I just saw the signs, and so I'm just being directed from the signs that I saw.
Oh, great. Well, come on in. We have a little
Thank
preview
you.
for the neighbors, but you're welcome to come in. I'm
Thanks.
just going to ask that you sign in and
Mhm.
just give me your name, your phone number, and your email address. And I would love to show you the house.
Okay, great.
Do you live locally?
We just live in the next town over. We live in Plano.
Great. Are you looking to relocate here?
Not really, but I was driving and I just love looking at homes to get some ideas for decorating and so forth. So yeah, that's kind of why I stopped.
Okay, so come on in, see what if the house interests you at all. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know and I'll be happy to answer them. And in the meantime, Jim, I can start sending you some properties in the area that you think you might want to be, no pressure. And listen, if you want to have an idea of what your house is worth, I'm happy to do a comparative market analysis for you, free of charge, no pressure, just so that you can get an idea of what's going on in your neighborhood and how much your largest asset is worth.
Okay, that'd be good. Thank you.
Okay, great. So take a look around. If you have any questions, let me know. And listen, like I said, I'd love to help you if there's anything I can do.
Okay. So it's just very easy. It's not hard. And then sometimes you can even go deeper with connecting with them on, Emery asked me where I'm from, if I'm looking to relocate. Those are important things to know. Sometimes it even goes deeper than that. We talked about it yesterday. And I discovered yesterday that one of the coaches at Knowledge DNA is actually from Iowa, like I am originally, which is pretty strange. So sometimes at the doors, having a connection conversation where you might, if you have somebody, unlike how I was in that conversation where I said, no, I just wanted to get decorating ideas. If somebody said, well, we've been thinking about moving, the connection questions, which I didn't give Anne-Marie the chance to get into, might be, well, tell me about you and will you be moving with your family? And where did you move from originally to end up in Plano? Try to find out more about them because then you can discover commonalities that you have with people. Write down the word commonalities because that's making a connection with people. And sometimes it's by the kind of dog that they have. Sometimes it's by where they lived before, the hobbies that they have. So you don't want to get into a 2-hour conversation with anybody, but you do want to try to connect with them in any way that you can so you can find out commonalities with people where you might say, well, take a look through the house. As you can see with this script, I'd be delighted to show you around. This property offers blah, 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 which you can see. Feel free to explore, just like Anne-Marie said. And if you have any questions, I'm here to help. And if they said, we have a dog, we need a yard, we need a fence, that came up yesterday. Those are things that, you can discover in a conversation. So I can tell you, if you're not doing open houses, there's lots of opportunities in our office to do open houses. A couple of the agents who list a lot of homes don't have the time or the need to do open houses. They're not looking necessarily for buyer clients. They've got the listing. They know they'll get paid on the listing side should that property sell. And so they're open to allow you to do open houses. So that is an opportunity for all of us. And you should take that opportunity when that door is open for you. So this is just an idea for an open house script. Just welcome to the house. Be natural. Don't say, when are you buying? How soon have you been? I wouldn't get into the deep stuff. This is me. I would just have a conversation that you are a good person, a nice guy, a nice gal, and you're willing to help them if they need help. Now, last week, Jerry talked about in one of our classes, I guess 2 weeks ago, 2 Thursdays ago, talked about the app that he created for open houses where people can register. So if any of you want information on how to do that, Jerry I think I'm volunteering, Jerry, it can help you create something that people find very easy to register on, and at the same time be able to get information where they register on this easy to set up system. Jerry, do you just want to talk a minute about that whole thing? Would you mind?
No, that's fine. I can.
Yeah, please.
No, like I said, we just created an easy way to do it through, I use a QR code with landing pages. Basically just ask them to sign in that way. I've fashioned it a couple different ways. I just, ask them if they'll scan right here, provide me with their information or whatever. All the information about the house will be provided to them in an email format. That way they don't have to walk around with 100 different papers throughout the day or whatever like that. It'll be in their email. They don't have to worry about losing it, blowing out the window of the car, falling out at the next open house, whatever. It's there. You get accurate information because you'll get an email immediately or a text, depending on how you set it up, that they did register for it. And you can ask them, did you get my email? Did you get the information I just sent you? And then they can check it and make sure that they just got it. It's pretty easy to set up, not too labor intensive, but once you've got the template down, you can repeat it multiple times.
Over and over. And the key to this template is the QR code, correct?
That's one of them. That's the ease of use. The key that I say is that it captures their information and you get it in a spreadsheet format. So you'll have their name, regardless of what name they put in there. I mean, they could still put in Mickey Mouse, but they had to put in a valid email address to get the information. Now they could put in a dummy email address and it's going to send it to some spam section or whatever. They don't really care.
Yes.
But you'll at least have an email address that's factual. And it kind of keeps you from having to decipher someone's handwriting. But you can just say, hey, just go ahead and fill it out, send it to me, and you'll immediately get an email response back, and before they leave, you can just ask them, hey, did you get that email I sent you with all the information about the home? I just wanted to make sure you got everything before you left.
Okay. Yeah.
And they can take the phone right there because everybody has their phone these days. And when they walk in, you can like, hey, scan right here. They've got their phone. So
yeah. And if you're looking for the right language to ask them to scan, I believe, I haven't used this method, Jerry. Agents in my other office actually did and had success with it, actually paid for an app that they use. This is totally free, done on Google. But one of the hardest things I have found in an open house is asking them to sign in, because many people know exactly what you're doing. Right. They know that for the rest of their life, they're going to be hearing from you whether or not they want to. And I think this is a lighter approach to it, where you might say, and the words that I think worked for me is, the owners of the home, for security reasons, have asked everybody to sign in. And if you wouldn't mind, would you please sign in? So that kind of breaks that ice on knowing how to ask them to sign in without being salesy. So the owners of this home, because of security reasons, because a lot of people were going in and out of the house today, have asked that I do everything I can to keep things as secure for them as possible. Obviously, they value their home and have a lot of nice things here. So if you wouldn't mind, would you mind just getting on to get the QR code and register online? And the benefit is, I'm not going to be wasting any paper. You won't have to drag around paper, and we're going to be compliant to save the environment and so forth, and you'll still get all the information. Would you mind doing that? Maybe an easier
I even
way.
I even do a printout of the QR code and I'll write above it or put a sign above it or something like that. It's like, hey, scan right here to get all the information about this property.
Yeah. And it might not be a bad idea to put that QR code in several different places in the house. I don't know if you've done that, because sometimes people don't want to show their interest to you. They don't want to give it up, right? That, oh God, I don't want him to know that.
Their hand.
Yeah, I don't want to show him that I'm the least interested in this house, because, oh God, I know he's going to get my license plate number. He's going to get the model of my car. He's going to follow me. He's got people outside watching me. He's going to take pictures of me. I mean, people get uptight about that. And so I think if they might go into a different room where you're not there, I can see them, saying, hey, honey, take a picture of that while we're here, huh? And let's get more information on the house. So
I usually have 3 or
Go ahead.
4 places somewhere in the house.
yeah, definitely.
Apple also has, if you have an iPad, it's called Open Home Pro. And it's free. It's specifically for real estate agents. And it's a very easy way, another way to have people sign in.
Okay.
You can
Good.
do it for them. It's just an easy way for them to sign in. They're not scribbling on a piece of paper.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you for that pointer. So any questions about this script? There's nothing magical about it, but it opened up, and this is the purpose of scripts. It's to open up conversations sometimes about things other than the script itself, that the script helps us get into the conversation to help us all and other people. All right, let's talk about this buyer consultation script. I'll just read it. Thank you for considering me to help you find your new home. To get started, I'd love to learn more about your preferences. What are your must-haves and nice-to-haves in a property? This will help me tailor my search to find options that match your needs. So when do you think you could use a script like this? If anybody'd like to jump in, just unmute yourself. Any ideas?
I got one.
Okay, go ahead.
On our Zillow leads or Boomtown leads or any cold lead at all whatsoever, you're just talking, but they're interested in actually looking for a house.
Okay.
And you haven't met them yet.
Okay.
Because I do the same thing pretty much with any of the lease tenants that I'm getting and stuff like that. So that's perfect.
It is perfect. Okay. Anybody else? Okay, so what I believe this will lead into, and Kim answered if I, would have prompted her and told her what to say. It's exactly what I, was hoping somebody might say. Is it's great for responding to any leads that you might have from your sign calls on your listings and otherwise. But thank you for considering me to help you find your home. Now, on a sign call, they never said they're considering you to find a new home. Sometimes I believe in assuming the position that you just expect that they're going to consider you for buying a home. When I do listing presentations, as I'm going through the listing presentation, I don't say, and if we list your home, I say, when we list your home today, this is what I am going to do. And when I list your home, when we get your home on the market, it's always that I just assume I'm going to get it. And I can tell you, there will be people who won't take it away from you. They don't want to take something away. It's kind of like when, you would give a toy to somebody and they take it away from people. We just don't do that. So thank you for considering me to help you find a new home. So to get started today, I'd love to learn more about your preferences. What brought you to calling me on 123 Apple Street, and tell me, what are your must-haves and nice-to-haves, so forth and so on. They might say, hey, I just want to look at the house. Okay. And then you have to deal with that. But what I'm hoping this will do for you all is lead you in to thinking about interviews for your buyer clients. Thank you for considering me to find your new home. To get started, I'd love to know more about your preferences. You've said what you want to do. You want to learn more about their preferences. What are your must-haves in a property? This will help me tailor my search to find options that match your needs. Now, you not necessarily at this point, but I think it set up the conversation into having a meeting with a buyer. It's something that most of us do not do. And I think because we do not do it, partially is because we're scared to ask them for a meeting, and we don't expect them to meet with us. My rules are with working with buyer calls and so forth is to show them the property that they called on, to always have a couple in reserve that I know are on the market that I can show them that day or make arrangements to show them. But I also use it to set up a meeting with them to explain to them the buyer process. And you always want to try to set up a meeting. If you do, it's going to help you not get calls at 10 o'clock at night. It's going to help you not getting calls from buyer clients that you're working with that they want this or that, or can you meet me there in 10 minutes? Or I want to look at another house and another house, because you will have a period of time that you set up for them to sit with you so you can tell them how you do business. So when you work with me, here's what you can expect. And it gives you the opportunity to present your buyer presentation. So it lays out how you work, how professional you are, what the rules of engagement are, that they have to get pre-approved before you're going to show them more properties, the days that you work, the days that you don't work, how you set up appointments. So we're going to work on that. We'll have a class coming up on the buyer class, the buyer consultation, but this is a script just when somebody calls you to set up to look at a home. Any thoughts about this script? Any more thoughts about this? No? Okay. So did you have something, Anne Marie, or someone?
I was just going to say, it's a great way to sit down and really build rapport once you start asking them what their wants and their needs are. It really is a great way to build rapport with them and gain trust.
Well, and some of you just heard this a couple of weeks from me, and it is the method that Johnny Lowy, who was one of the premier instructors at Exit Corporate years ago, now started his started his own companies in Florida. But on these situations, when he would say, what are your must-haves and the nice-to-haves in the property? And if they said, well, we need a big backyard. Well, if yours does not have that, you don't want to be blown out of the water when they walk into the open house. You can say something like, oh, well, that's going to be tough with this piece of property, but and I want you to look at me, I know of a couple homes that are very similar to this in the same price range that we could look at that have larger backyards. If they're still on the market, when would be a good time for us to take a look at them? Would tomorrow at 2 or would Monday at 4 work better? So even if the property that you're doing an open house does not work for them, you can always fall back. If they say it's too small, there's not enough bedrooms, we thought the living room would be larger, we don't like the flooring, the ceilings are too low, whatever it might be, you could say, I hear exactly what you're saying. This home is beautiful, but it's not for everybody. But I know of a couple homes, if they're still available, that might fit exactly what you're looking for. And when would be a good time for us to take a look? If they're still available, can I give you a call back later today? You've registered, right? So I can give you a call back. Great. And then I'll see if they're available and give you a call. Do you have tomorrow at 4 o'clock if I can get this lined up and so forth? Or would Monday at 5 work better? Listen, you don't have to have the homes. You don't have to have them. They don't know that you don't have them. It means you come back, you get on the MLS, and you rip your brains out trying to find something that fits what they want. And you try to locate that. What's the worst that could happen? If you go back to your office and you can't find what you told them, if they're still available, I know of a couple homes that might fit exactly what you're looking for. What's the worst that could happen? Well, I'll tell you, the worst that can happen is you have to call them back and say, those 2 homes that I was thinking of, they're not on the market, they're sold. But you know what? Let's get busy and find you that perfect home that you mentioned to me. So it keeps you in the game. And isn't that what this business is all about? You're trying to find the needs of your person. They have something that they need. It's no different than a story that you would read. There are people that, they're looking for solutions. There's always a problem somewhere in a movie, and there's always a problem that somebody's trying to solve. That's your job, is to solve it. Okay? Does that make sense to everybody?
It also gives you a chance to go out and find that listing.
It'll make you more aware of what's on the marketplace, right?
Absolutely. You can go out. I mean, I had people one time, that woman said to me, I love that house. I went and knocked on the door. Nobody was there. I left a note. 3 weeks later, they sent me a message. I went there. They said, we want to list the house for sale. Well, it wound up they didn't buy the house, even though they loved it from the outside. It didn't have everything they wanted. But I wound up getting the listing just by knocking on the door.
Yeah,
It
absolutely.
was a fluke. It was totally a fluke. I mean,
Yeah.
what are
Yeah.
the chances? But yeah, it'll give you the chance to get out there and try to find that listing. And you never know. You go through some expired listings, see there's something that didn't sell, opens up
Exactly.
a whole nother avenue of business for you to look at.
You bet. So we don't have a lot of time, but I want to go through one more because I want you to be able to take something of value. If you didn't find anything of value yet, as we're talking, something of value that you can do almost right away. Okay. And if any of you have looked at this script, I'm just going to read through it. But first of all, I'm going to say it's a cold call script. And the great script for calling owners with multiple properties that you can secure from a favorite title company. So when we have our guests come from First American Title on the 24th, I believe the 28th, maybe, I'm not sure when they're coming, but it'll be on our calendar. You'll get a little thing that I create for you. So you'll get that. Or if you contact your favorite title company rep, one thing you can ask them this tomorrow, or if they want to work late today, you can call them today and say, can you provide me with the names of people in my geographic area, in your farm area, whatever you might have. Kim, what area do you work? You still with us, Kim?
Yeah.
What area?
Still Flower Mound.
Flower Mound. Okay. Elle works Roanoke, right? How about who else on the call? Jerry, what area do you work?
I think Jerry had to go.
You had to go. How about Cortez? What area do you live in?
The Garden area.
Okay. Garland. Okay. Kimberly, how about you? What's your neighborhood? I know you live in Denton.
I live in Sanger, but
Sanger.
Frisco, Little Elm, Sanger.
Okay. All right. Good. Let's see who else is on the call. Ask Kim. I've got my directional thing. Elle, I mentioned you. You work in Roanoke, so I took your steam away from you. I'm sorry. Tony, where do you work? What area?
Irving and Lower Greenville,
All right.
mostly.
Amina, what area do you live in?
Flower Mound.
Okay, Flower Mound. A lot of Flower Mounds here. So everybody's going to be doing this, and they're going to be, jumping over each other for business, and that's okay. We all work together on this. So this is what I would do. I would say to your representative, I would like to know in this particular neighborhood, or doing all of Flower Mound or all of Irving or all of a particular city will be difficult. If you can, shrink it down to a neighborhood, all of the homes that are owned by people that own multiple properties, they can do a search and find people who own 3, 4, 5 properties. Okay. Think about how you could add this to your business right now. Maybe you're not doing FSBOs, door knocking, renters to buyers, all the other expireds, all the other things that we talk about, but you could do this. They'll provide you the contact information for people that own 3, 4, 5, 6 properties. And when they do, what if you called them and you said, hello, my name is Jim. I'm with EXIT Realty Elite serving the DFW marketplace. I didn't say Flower Mound. I didn't say Irving. I didn't say Denton. I didn't say Sanger. I said the DFW marketplace. I specialize in helping clients navigate the real estate market with ease. And I noticed you own a property at 123 Apple Street and I wanted to see if you have any plans related to it. Now, you might change that. Remember, dissect this, I see you own several properties in the Denton area. I see you own one on April Street, on May Street, and on June Street, and wanted to see if you have any plans related to those properties. And are you considering any real estate moves in the near future? Now, what you might find from this call, I know because I've done it, and agents in my company in Oregon did this. They would find people that said, you know, I've got 2 of the homes that are vacant, and they've been vacant for too long, or I'm tired of the tenants. I want to move on, and I'm thinking of investing in commercial property. And yeah, as a matter of fact, I am thinking about selling one of my homes, or I'm thinking about moving into one of mine. I would need to sell my home because one of the homes I own is smaller. We're downsizing. This plan costs you zero, costs you nothing. There should be very little hesitation because of fear, and fear stops most of us from being successful in this business. That's just a fact. There's no fear in this. You're calling somebody that owns multiple properties, and you're simply asking them, I noticed you own properties on blah, 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 and wanted to see if you have any plans related to it. They might say, no, don't call me again. Oh, that was like an arrow in my heart. So what? Move on to the next one until you find somebody that says, well, you know, as a matter of fact, I do need some help with something. Do you do lease properties? Can you help me get this property occupied? It's been empty for 2 months. I'm losing money on it. You can imagine how people might respond to this. Have any of you thought about doing something like this? Maybe you never considered it because you didn't know that you could do something like this and that you can get those names from a title company. Okay, so the one takeaway today, if you don't have enough business, if you're looking for more business, if you're tired of chasing leads, if you're tired of waiting for leads to come to you that are quality leads, take the initiative to create your own leads by creating a system, whatever it might be. This is just one that you can use. Anne Marie, have you ever used this in your companies? I'm guessing
I
you
have never, and I'm in a networking group, and the title person asked me if she could come to my office this morning, and I said yes. And we sat and we talked for about 15 or 20 minutes. I'm surprised that she never brought it up, but I'm definitely going to bring it up to her, see if she can run the list. I'll share it with a few of my agents and see if I can get them to make some calls. But yeah, I think that would be, she's always trying to connect with realtors, and this will give her a way to do so. And it's a no-brainer. If you're dealing with people, you know, I'll tell you this. I tell my agents all the time, where we live, you could buy a house for 900,000 or you could buy a house for 50 million. And I'm always telling them, you know, they're afraid to go into that higher end. And I always say to them, people who own big properties and multiple properties, those are the easier people to actually deal with because they're used to the transaction.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that they appreciate more also you calling them to see, hey, what's going on? I see your house is empty, or do you want to do something? Like you said, what are your plans with the property? I think they actually appreciate it. And I think they're much more approachable and much more open to a conversation.
Listen, Anne Marie works in, a major office. She's worked with a lot of agents. She's been around for a long time, and she hasn't used this. And it's not because she's not smart, dedicated, and successful, but it's things like this meeting are ways that we learn of things that you just didn't think about before, right? And so I want you to consider using this. And here's how I feel about it. Now, I don't want to come off too brazen in any way. If I hear that agents are starving and aren't making any money, probably is because they're not talking to enough people. And so here's a way for you to talk to people that will get you in the doors, hopefully get you in the doors of people. At least, with the tools that Exit had, you can call these people, you can leave them with your mobile business card. So whenever they're thinking about ever doing anything with the property in the future, Guess what? They have your mobile business card saved in their phone. No other company gives that to you. Usually you have to just send them something that they'll lose. They won't lose it if you say to them, hey, save this in your phone. You may not need anything today, but when you do, I would love to be the agent that provides you with professional representation. Thanks for talking to me today, right? So I want to end with this. One thing to take from today is find ways to separate yourself from other agents. You know, some of the words. Now, what I've got here is Chat GPT. It's not me. So I put down, how can agents separate themselves from other real estate agents in this business? Here are just some lines that they put in. Unlocking your real estate dreams, something that they use. Are you looking for a dedicated real estate partner who's not just smart, but also compassionate and hardworking? How many people really think of realtors as compassionate and hardworking? They think we make all kinds of money. None. No, we're not compassionate. All we want to do is make a sale. Are we hardworking? Hell no. We make all kinds of money. We don't, and we drive around in big cars and we take pictures with our big cars and all, you know, so no, they don't think that. Here's another. As your trusted real estate agent, I bring a blend of intelligence and empathy to the table. And you know, EXIT, part of our model is based on empathy. That's one of the words used in our model. You can talk about the smart strategies you have. My analytical skills help me identify the best opportunities in the market when working with my buyers and sellers. Words that you can use. These are great words. I didn't create them. The damn computer created these things, right? I have a compassionate approach. Real estate transactions are more than just details. They're about life transitions. I'm committed to understanding your unique situation and providing support throughout the process. Hardworking ethos. I believe in rolling up my sleeves and putting it hard work to make your real estate dreams a reality. Your success is my priority. So think of ways and words that you can use to separate yourself. I'm going to download this document in the file section of our page, of our Facebook page. So it'll be there. So you don't have to write all this down. And there's a few other scripts in here we didn't have time to go through today. And we never do. We never do because, well, maybe I talk too much, but because other ideas come up and it becomes a conversation more than a training class. So any last comments before we go? I've kept you over 7 minutes and I don't want to keep you any longer. Anything for the good of the order.
Thanks, Jim. And Al, thanks for reminding me we had this today.
How could you forget, Kim?
I was
This was
showing
great,
6
Jim.
properties to a guy that was really late. So anyway,
I know you
awesome.
I know you had a bad day. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for inviting me, Jim. This was very nice.
Yes, thank you,
Yeah.
Anne Marie, for being here. We appreciate you. And Tony, tell us, is that house, did you put it pending? Are you that far? Or are you still good?
Yeah, I just put it out to open contract, so it's gonna hopefully go pending in Sunday, and
Okay.
get it going.
Everybody, unmute yourself and give Tony a round of applause. It's a must. Do it.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Good
Thank you.
job.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Good
Appreciate
job.
that.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay, everybody. So
Hey,
tomorrow.
Tony, it's so awesome. I'll give you lunch tomorrow at the office.
Way to go. Listen, Al, we almost didn't have lunch for tomorrow until just about an hour ago.
Whoops.
Yeah. So
Hey,
Tammy,
I'm sorry.
yeah. No, it's not your fault. Tammy got it lined up, so we have lunch tomorrow. So I hope you're all there tomorrow. Anne Marie, if you feel like coming to Texas, come on over.
Are you?
We'll give you lunch.
Yeah,
So
I might not be there tomorrow though, but I'm
Okay.
gonna try to be there.
all right.
Well, I'll save
Appreciate
it
you.
for the next Thursday that you're there.
I will be
Yeah,
there
that's-
next Thursday. I will be there next Thursday.
Yeah, if Michael doesn't take it home. Michael usually takes all
Right.
the leftovers home, right? But we'll put something in the refrigerator for you, Tony. All right,
Nice.
everybody. Thank you for being
Take
here
care.
today.
Thanks so
All right,
much.
thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Have a
Appreciate
great
it.
day.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Anne Marie. It's nice seeing you again.
Bye-bye.